Welcome to the conversation part of the Upper Bowl podcast. We have the main producer for the Joe Rose Show and on 1043 WQAM, also on 560 AM. He is the host of pre and post game for Miami Hurricanes football, mostly pregame. And he also does Miami Hurricanes basketball color commentary and also does pregame and fill-in play-by-play. I'd like to welcome back to the program my man Hollywood. Hollywood, how are we doing? And I got to ask you, since we were, I like to say this is the heart of college football season. Are we happy with the committee, or should we tell the committee to go bleep themselves and we can just go back to the computer system? How are you doing, by the way?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you. That was a heck of an introduction, by the way. All right, college football playoff.
We could talk about it here. Yeah, we could finally do it, me and you.
Now, selfishly, I am perfectly fine with the conclusion that they came to, right?
Yeah.
Because the Miami Hurricanes got in, and to me, that was really all that mattered. With that being said, I think there were some strange things that happened. I think penalizing BYU for losing to the number 4 team in the country while not penalizing Alabama, losing to the number 3 team in the country. I get the Big 12 is not the SEC, but I think, that the teams are relatively similar, number 4, number 3. So I think if you're going to penalize one, you probably have to penalize the other. I think both of those teams, BYU and Alabama, should have both been out because they proved in that game that they are not national title contenders, right? Look, with all that being said, too, Notre Dame's schedule was pathetic.
Yeah.
The last 10 games, and I know their AD's running around saying that they, had a historical run. And it's like, well, you beat a lot of teams with losing records, but Notre Dame, I believe, deserved to be in. I think that Alabama and BYU should have been the teams that are out. I don't have a problem with this whole Tulane, James Madison thing. I do think maybe letting 2 of those teams in is a little much, but you got to give the little guys a seat at the table, right? It just, to me, the whole thing doesn't work if you don't, give them a shot, because then at the end of the day, what are they playing for,
They're playing for a crappy bowl game in Orlando, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is now, I like to say it's the premier bowl game, since if you're not making a CFP, you go straight to Orlando and get to go party in Disney World for a week, I guess.
Yeah, I was just in Disney World. I don't know that that's the premier place to go for a bowl game, but I am with you. That might be the top game outside of all these playoff games.
Definitely. The thing is, for me, is like I can't stand Notre Dame. I did not like how Alabama got blown out. And they should have lost 5 games at least. They should have lost to South Carolina. They should have got blown out to this team. They should not. Since they got blown on the SEC title, you should have penalized them. It should have been either Miami at Oklahoma or Notre Dame, Oklahoma, which would have been a thriller of a Friday night game. Anyways, when you look at it, am I right? But I'm personally, when you look at it, I'm cool with the little teams getting in. I know even though they have to go play in Oregon and Ole Miss, someone's going to get killed. But it's good for the alumni system that, like, hey, we can make it into the big time bowl game. And plus JMU is finally a D1 school and they can finally play for something for pride and not just for the Sun Belt, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, look, these teams are all trying to, they're putting a lot of money into their programs. I went to USF in Tampa, and they just lost their coach to Auburn, which is a head scratching hire, to be quite honest with you, after USF goes 9-3 and they're playing in a week from today, in a mid-December, the Cure Bowl, and I think it's in Orlando. Anyway, so they take that guy, Alex Golish, they take him, and USF turns around and hires Brian Hartline.
Yeah,
it's a big hire. It's an expensive hire, I would assume, and they're building an on-campus stadium. So I just look at programs like that. You look at let's go to Boca, where FAU's made the investment. They built the stadium. I just don't think you can tell schools like that, hey, I see you. It's nice you guys keep investing in your programs and spending all this money, but we're not even going to give you a seat at the table. The SEC gets 5 of them, and the Big Ten gets 3 or 4 of them, and the ACC and Big 12 get 1 each. It seems like, right? And then
it's a disgrace, anyways.
You got to give these guys at the very least just a shot, right? And I think that the best teams out of the group of 5, I do think that, I think Tulane was the best, right, out of the best conference. And I hope that they hang in their game. I don't know if they will or not, but I hope that they do, just to, to show that those guys belong.
I just want at least good game because I know when you look at the schedule, I was very head scratching. Like you put Oklahoma, Alabama on a Friday night. That's like you should have put Ole Miss there, but I understand why they're doing it because they don't want to go up against the NFL, which they had no problem doing it last year, anyways. But when you look at this, like how views me and you are like we're TV viewing stuff. I'd rather watch Oklahoma after the Miami game, not on a Friday night. Am I crazy to say that? It's like we're TV guys. Also, we like watching sports, anyways. Are you shocked they put that game on a Friday night?
All I care about is that the Miami game is early.
Yes.
I like an early pregame. To be quite honest with you, it's a nice, get up at 8 and ready to roll, man, with an 8 a.m. pregame, and it just works perfectly for me. And we'll get that game rolling at noon, and we'll see, man. We'll see if Miami, I be honest, I don't know that there's a team out there that's been trending up the way that Miami has. They hit the bump in the road in the middle of the season, but they've had a tremendous month of football. And I think that the way that this team is built, I think the way that this team is coached, I think they have a very good shot to make some noise in this thing.
I agree too. I think it's to be a fun team. I would say this. I think this is Mario's best job. I know it's his fourth year on the job, and I feel like my first year down here was his first year. I've seen how it grown and stuff. I'm very impressed what he's been doing as a program builder. You've been here since forever. You've been here forever, and you've seen what the program was before Mario and what it was after Larry Coker. What would you say if you could see the change? Is it night and day? Would you say?
Yeah, but look, the reality too is that I think Mario is a fantastic recruiter. I think he's a coach, and I think he's surrounded himself with incredible coaches, right? I mean, Shannon Dawson, Corey Heatherman, Jason Taylor, Alex Mirabal, like the list goes on and on, right? Like he has surrounded himself with great coaches, but here's the thing, and I think this is from watching college football, and you see which programs are thriving and which ones aren't. Your university has to make a commitment to football, right, and to athletics, and they have to say, hey, we're going to put the money in to hang with the big boys. And that's where the difference, to me, really the most significant difference lies, right? And Miami has a president now, and Joe Echeverria, who has made that commitment. And Miami is just reaping the benefits right now, right? And you can see it, man. You've gotten better and better, and it's not just football. It's you're seeing it in the basketball program with baseball. The hire of Jay Lucas. You see it in the baseball. Yeah, you can see it all over the campus. And college athletics has just gotten so big that it represents the school, right? It's important, and Miami's taken that approach now, and that to me, and look, I'm not trying to undercut the job that Mario's done, because I think he's done a fan. At the end of the day, has got to pick the right pieces, right? I think Miami's done a tremendous job through the transfer portal, but you look at what happened to FSU. It's not like FSU isn't making an investment. It's the fact that they just seem to miss on these transfer portal guys. So I do think that's a big part of the battle, right? Is making sure you're getting the right guys, but also the fact that the university has really committed and said, we're not going to be second to anyone in athletics anymore.
Which I personally like, anyways, because I feel Miami's a pro town and also a great college town as well. And like when I see like the Hurricanes, like as someone from Northeast, there's so many Miami Hurricanes alumni, and people who listen to the podcast up north is like they're happy that they're good, they're great again, they're good right now. And they're in the playoff. I get people asking me about it all the time. I just think it's really good for like down here and up north as well, for the alumni base as well.
Yeah, man, I've seen it both ways, man. I saw it. I grew up in Kendall down there in Miami, and we used to go to games at the Orange Bowl, and so I remember that place. And I remember those teams that they just couldn't lose. They could not lose. And I know that that's not really necessarily achievable anymore in this day and age in college football, but back-to-back 10-win seasons. And you can't take that away from those guys. That is truly impressive, and now a chance to keep going. And Ohio State's waiting for the winner of Miami Texas A&M, so that game is juicy for a lot of different reasons. But we'll focus on A&M for the time being. But that game's looming if Miami should get past them.
New Year's Eve, I hope you're ready for that. Cancel all your plans, is where I've been telling people already. I already canceled a few things already.
Trevor, I'm 40 years old. I don't do anything on New Year's Eve anymore, man. New Year's is just too difficult, too expensive, and it's just not. I might not make it till midnight. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I tell you for sure.
Wrap
I want to
it.
talk about Lane Kiffin with you. Me and you. I think this is the most drawn out process of all effing time I've ever seen for head coaching since maybe I don't know who was going to be the next like ex head coach for Ohio State or something. And it was be Urban Meyer or somebody else. Are you happy that it's over with? Or are you just bummed that he left Ole Miss because I feel like he built a nice program there to go to LSU just because he took the money?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure the logic behind the move, right? Like you got your team to the pinnacle. You've reached the top of your profession. You're going to the college football playoff, right? That is for any coach, that is the peak of your profession. That's the best you could possibly do. There is absolutely zero guarantee that Lane Kiffin will ever get a chance to coach again in a college football playoff, right? A lot of things have to, by the way, man, a lot of things have to break your way to get into this thing, right? It's tough. You get injuries and you get schedule and whatever.
Quarterback.
Right? A lot of things have to break your way. And, I think, people, especially down here, we realize how tough it is to win, how tough it is to get into that thing. And you can't take it for granted. But again, I don't understand the move. That's just me. I guess LSU maybe has more resources, but Texas A&M or Texas A&M. Why do I have them on the brain? Ole Miss. Ole Miss was willing to offer him a ton of money, so I don't think it ended up being a money issue. Maybe LSU said, "Hey, we'll give you more in NIL," but again, for me, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. I think the way that he handled the whole situation was pretty embarrassing, right? I mean, make the guys wait, weeks on end, and you call this meeting, and you come out with the statement, boy, my players really wanted me to stay, and I just want to coach, I want to help them, this and that. And it's like, first of all, the players came out and said that was not true, that none of them wanted him to stay, and you can't coach that team after you took the rival job. Like you can't.
Can't be Billy Martin, be the Yankees manager and take the Red Sox job for the postseason.
I mean, is the guy out of his mind? Like, you had to know that they were not going to allow you to do that. This is a much different situation than, say, the guy at Florida who is going to coach Tulane, or Brian Hartline even. Talking about him earlier. Like, Brian Hartline's going to still call plays for Ohio State, and why shouldn't he? Right? Like, USF and Ohio State aren't recruiting, the same people, right?
No.
So, that's a no-brainer, but man, Lane Kiffin is just, he seems to be in his own world and just doesn't seem to get it. And I don't know why you'd want to leave a place like that to go to a place that, Brian Kelly couldn't win there. I know that it is possible. I'm sure it's possible to win there, obviously, right? We've seen it, but
yeah,
I don't know, man.
You have NFL players coming through there all the time anyways, which is crazy. So I'm just shocked. And plus, I got tired of when they were doing the documentary series. Like, we don't need this. Like, do we care that you do hot yoga? Cool. Is that going to make me do hot yoga? Not really. Anyways, like, unless I want to die in the heat, I'd rather die out in the heat on the beach at least. Am I right?
Yeah. Look, man, a lot of the stuff that he has done, a lot of the things that he's, it's just, he's burnt a lot of bridges too, man.
What bridge can we talk about? The NFL bridge, the Tennessee bridge, or the USC bridge?
Yeah, none of it makes any sense to me, man. I don't get it. I also don't get why he's such a hot commodity, to be quite honest with you. But whatever.
I don't get it either. It's like, I guess if you worked under Pete Carroll, you worked under Nick Saban, and you worked for Al Davis, I guess that means something in this world. Am I right?
Well, that's how it goes some of those times. Remember when it was like anyone that had been in the same room with Sean McVay was getting hired as, in NFL jobs.
Yeah. So, doesn't matter if you're an OC, DC, or a QB coach, at least, anyways, or rub elbows at them, anyways. Yeah. What's your biggest thing going on in the NFL? Would you say, since we like to talk football on the show, and you do as well with Joe Rose every day? What's your biggest thing, nationally and locally for you?
The biggest thing that I think is kind of crazy right now is the fact that the big three, I like to call them the Chiefs, the Bills, and who am I forgetting?
Ravens.
The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. Those are the three teams that battle it out, right, to get to the Super Bowl every year. I don't know how many of them are going to make the playoffs, if any at all, right? I guess Buffalo is probably going to have a good look at it, but my God, man, the fact that like the Chiefs have the same record as the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Right now, like, what world are we living in? And I know that the Chiefs have had a brutal schedule, but I'm shocked. I am shocked that those three teams have struggled at the way that they have. The Ravens have been rough. They've been all over the place. I know that Lamar was hurt, but yeah, it's that to me has been the crazy thing is that the teams that you thought were going to be really good have not been, and there are so many teams that are just kind of stuck in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know who's going to separate themselves from the pack here.
Would you say this is like the best year for the NFC? Would you say, like in my life and like in a while? Would you say because the NFC's loaded with the Eagles free falling right now?
Well, the Eagles thing is funny. Like we were talking about that down here, and you guys, those guys in Philly complain about Jalen Hurts, and it's like, man, I would love to have that problem, to have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. The year after he wins the Super Bowl. I imagine the Eagles are going to win their next two games. They have bad team. What do they play?
They play Vegas,
and Commanders, right?
Vegas, Washington, Buffalo,
twice. So they're going to end up with 10 or 11 wins, which is like, again, I don't know how you complain about that, man. Like that just doesn't add up to me because we got Tua playing down here and they got all sorts of problems with that guy right now. And, I would like to be in that Eagles situation. I also think the Rams are a pretty good team out there. Do the Packers come around? Do the Lions come around? I don't, that's going to be the interesting thing. Cause again, these were the teams a lot of people thought were going to be really good and it just hasn't panned out that way. But man, I'd love to have that Eagles problem down here.
Yeah. Don't turn on WIP. That's all I ask. Yeah. These are my power rankings I have for for all the NFL. We do 5 every week. Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, Bills. I threw in Packers at 5. I've swapped the chart. I had the Chargers originally. I swapped them out for the Packers at least.
Okay, and I like that you put the Patriots in there, although that's a team that again we'll see how it goes when the playoffs hit, man. When the games start to ratchet up and they really mean something. I don't want to take away from the regular season run that they've had, but we'll see how Drake May plays in the postseason.
What's been your biggest thing? Would you say in the AFC East between the Dolphins, Patriots, and would you say parity?
The Patriots have been quite a surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been. What do they won? 10 straight, 11 straight,
10 straight.
Pretty ridiculous to be quite honest with you. It's unbelievable. I didn't think the Bills were going to be able to put it in cruise control this year and cruise to a division title. I just think at some point it catches up to you when you don't put enough around Josh Allen. They ask him to do so much, man, and I just think it's almost mismanagement over there, right? GM malpractice to keep surrounding this guy with these receivers. I know they drafted Keon Coleman. They can't even keep him on the field. It's just the whole thing's kind of tough. But the Patriots have been quite a surprise, man. We'll see if they can keep it going in the postseason.
Were you shocked that Jalen Waddle is not? Because there was reports of Jalen Waddle being traded to Buffalo for a couple first-round picks. Were you shocked that Miami didn't take that deal?
Man, I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. And that's the honest answer. Like, I don't know what the Dolphins' vision for the future is, right? They fired Chris Greer. They fired a few other people in the front office. They've kept some people. They have a quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa who, I don't know what you guys discuss on the show as far as can he play? Is he any good? To me, he's not a franchise quarterback. I think we see that now, and he seems to be regressing week by week. But I just don't know what the Dolphins' vision is. Are they going to bring Mike Tua back? Who the hell knows, right? Are they going to try to patch this thing up? Maybe the Dolphins finish the season strong. You know what I mean? And I don't think they're going to go up to Pittsburgh and get a win. I'm not picking them to do that because those are the games that have traditionally been disastrous for them. I'd love to be proven wrong, but if this thing ends on, kind of a high note, does Stephen Ross decide, we're going to patch it and we're going to come back with the guys that we have? They have draft picks, I just don't know, man. I don't know what the vision is for this team, and anyone who tells you different is either working in the front office information that I don't have, or they're lying to you.
I totally get you on that. Other than that, what's your best game this weekend you're going to watch since the Dolphins do play Monday Night Football? For me, Eagles Raiders is a good game. The game I'm pretty much more intrigued to watch is that Lions-Rams game.
Lions and Rams is definitely an interesting game. And I think the Lions are one of those teams that, to me, has to, to prove themselves. And I'd like to see them. I do like the Lions, right? I like Dan Campbell, and I do feel bad the way that thing ended a handful of years ago in the playoffs. I think Chiefs and Chargers is interesting. Bills and Patriots obviously is a game to watch. That will be a very interesting game in that 1:00 window. I think Packers and Broncos will be a good game. See Green Bay favored by a couple of points there as they go on the road. Help me make sense of that spread.
Yeah.
That one doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'll tell you what, man, Colts and Seahawks might be a sneaky interesting game as well. I guess is Phillip Rivers going to play? I mean, they have revived the corpse of Phillip Rivers. I guess he's going to play in that game. And I think the Seahawks team is really good. I think this Colts story in the NFL.
Anthony Richardson is not ready to play.
Well, that's just that's a disaster for another time, my friend. Yeah. But that Colts thing is just, it sucks, man. They went all in, and they brought in Sauce. He lasted a game or whatever, and the Daniel Jones story was awesome, and then he has the injury, and he's going to be gone for a long time. So I really do truly feel bad for the Colts.
Yeah, I was looking forward to see what the Colts will do in the playoff, and it was like almost a renaissance, almost like Colts. Falls almost back with not Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck at least. So, Hollywood, what's going on with Joe Rose show? What do you guys got on this week, anyways?
You know what, Trevor? Nothing worth promoting, to be quite honest, man. I'm just here for you. I'm here to do this.
We like to promote your show, anyways. Come on, man.
I never promote. I don't like self-promote. To be honest, I don't even know what we have coming up the rest of the week. So. We'll try our best to entertain people from 6 to 10 on 104.3 FM here in Miami, the Odyssey app, wherever you are able to find our program. And, we'll do our best, man. We got a big game coming up on Monday, so we're going to do our best. Omar Kelly going to be with us tomorrow as well in studio, hopefully. So we got that going on. So that's all I got for you, though, man. Again, I'm just here to do the podcast, bro. I'm not here to self-promote.
Hey, we like to self-promote everybody because we like to have everyone get some clicks and everything on their show. It doesn't matter if it's video clips, Twitter clips, or anything. So, Hollywood, it's always good talking.